Hello, YouTube. Well, I'm sure everybody knows about Chris Dorser? Is it Dorsey or Dorser? Dorner is the name. Everybody, I'm sure, knows about the Chris Dorner situation, and just in case you don't, I'll give you a brief overview. Chris Dorner, a former Los Angeles Police Department officer, has released an internet manifesto and has gone on a killing spree. And there's a manhunt for him in Los Angeles. He's killed 3 people so far and wounded 2. And in his manifesto, he states that he has anti-aircraft capability and 50 BMG rifle, and he, in the manifesto, he outlines his grievances with the Los Angeles Police Department in general. Really pulls no punches. He talks, he criticizes excessive use of force, a female officer, talked about eternal racism, also had some pretty choice words for Hispanic LAPD officers that tend to use their position to brutalize or mistreat recent immigrants. He also said something about misandry, of all things, which is a hatred of men among the females of the LAPD. Then he also mentioned basically what they call reverse racism among black members of the LAPD in the South Division. So that was long and short of it. It's redacted. Now supposedly there's a second half of the manifesto. I'll get to that later. But everybody can learn something from this situation. Police in general, and LAPD in particular, which is about as popular among the people of Los Angeles as syphilis, you need to think about what's happening, because they have a reputation for corruption and brutality. I think every law enforcement officer, from mall rent-a-cops to the heads of federal agencies, need to be given this consideration on how you treat those you police and possibly what laws you enforce. Because like I said, this guy, I've read a lot of online comments, not saying a whole lot bad about him. I mean, most people don't approve of killing folks' families, but he's going for broke and he don't care. Police need to, think, because there's a rising tide of straight up anti-police sentiment in this country. I mean, you see it in popular culture, in the blogosphere, you see it a lot of places. And in all seriousness, it's not all unjustified. Okay, now on to the manifesto or alleged things that he wrote. A bunch of stuff, from Obama to gun control to Joe Biden to the Zimmerman situation. Alright, first of all, with a lot of things written online, the guy didn't say it on video. So, people hack into stuff, and, so I'd be a little bit skeptical, about the veracity of the claims that he said all this, that, and the other. I've heard from one source that all that other stuff is actually posted on his Facebook or Twitter and wasn't part of the manifesto. Whether or not it is, I'm going to discuss what this, what can be learned from this, just on the basis of since it's been reported that he's made these statements about gun ownership and that, allegedly said that if there was a assault weapons ban in place, I wouldn't be able to do what I'm doing. Okay, naturally, we're going to hear from MSNBC, Coalition Stop Gun Violence, Bloomberg, Mikey Moore, and Bill Maher and Piers Morgan and the rest. We're going to hear, of course, this, is the best advertisement for why we need it. Which, as usual, they got everything topsy-turvy back asswards. If anything, the lesson that needs to be learned about this is the very futility and impracticality that any of these laws that are being advocated for, as far as enforcement. Okay, this guy has one of the largest police departments in the United States running scared. They're shooting at They're shooting at Vietnamese women thinking they're a large black man. They killed a white guy. You know what I'm saying? One guy with a rifle has one of the largest police departments, well-armed police departments in not only America, but probably the world. He has them shitting on themselves. Okay, now, and think about this, all you Feinsteins and Morgans, think about this. If one guy can do that, what if nationwide only a few hundred people in small groups of half dozen to maybe a few dozen, they're communicating and cooperating with each other? What kind of damage and inconvenience can they cause? You're not thinking about this. I often hear, oh man, you gun guys ain't gonna do nothing on. Probably most of us won't. You know what I mean? But there's gonna be a few that do. I mean, most disgruntled ex-cops don't go on shooting sprees, but one did. And look what that is resulting in. So you need to consider that. And another thing that needs to be considered out of this, in relationship to the gun debate, is that this man, part of what is driving him to bust caps and asses is his disgruntlement with the LAPD's treatment of its own citizens. Okay, don't you think that in the event that one of these bans is passed, that there will be people whose job is to enforce it that will become disgruntled and possibly violent, at the heavy-handed tactics that invariably would have to be employed in order to make, this thing happen. So, those are two things that, the advocates in politics and the media for a gun grab need to think about, and the enforcers and the general citizen that supports them. Those are some teachable moments, so to speak, that y'all should ponder. Now, there's another aspect to it too. Gun rights advocates, 3%ers, militia members, there's two main things that I think y'all need to consider and ponder. Number one, from all appearances, this guy is, a raging liberal, an Obama supporter, and somebody that's for gun grabbing. Okay, now, and on our Facebook pages and on our message boards and on our radio talk shows, there's a lot of Molon Labe come and take it, and a lot of people are like, well, we're the ones with the guns. We're the ones, that have all the ex-military dudes know how to use the guns. We're the ones, which that's not necessarily true. I think we fall in a trap of considering all of our opponents, all the people on the other side, to be limp-wristed sissies like Bill Maher or Piers Morgan, which is simply not true. There's guys that know how to do damage and are willing to do damage on the other side of the coin. And a final thought is that some of this other things that this guy tweeted or put in his manifesto he had to think about liking Pat's Blue Ribbon. He gave a shout out to Gianna Michaels, and he gave a shout out to Chick-fil-A, said they make some good damn chicken. Well, you know, it's hard for me to believe anybody likes PBR, Gianna Michaels, and, you know, fried chicken to be a totally bad person. So that brings, you know, the Molon Labe, come and take it. If it's coming, let's get the shit over with crowd. I want to leave you with one final thought. In addition to not all of them being, you know what I'm saying, easy targets or wimps, these weren't going to be faceless Nazis, you know, just, you know, alien zombies that you're going to be fighting. These are going to be people that you have common interests with. You share a common culture with, guys that you might have even drank some beer with back in the day, or that you would. I mean, people like the same things you do. You know, they're not only humans, they're us, in a sense. And, you know, even if you have the physical courage to pull the trigger, and one thing is, most people, unless they're total sociopaths, are going to get squeamish if the target of, you know what I'm saying, their sights is seen by them as a human being. It's, you know what I'm saying, it's not like stepping on ants, so to speak. You know, and I think that needs to be considered by our side, and we should make, and that those two things should lead us to try every possible way to avoid any internal conflict and, you know, find a peaceable solution to the problem. I'm out.